Welcome tuelimishe kwa masuala ya jamii, tuchunguze sana mbalimbali, tujuzwe juu ya matukio ya kila pembe, towapa burudani kwa familia nzima.
Very, very good evening. My name is Likuyani Eli, and welcome to the Family Edition. Always a pleasure joining you every single Saturday right here on the Arts in Heart on Facebook, YouTube channel is the Arts in Heart Official. Tonight, we are still tackling the elephant in the room, which is families and rather marriages that don't work. So if you've not been following this mini series, Coach Collins has been unleashing a lot of knowledge. And tonight he's coming to bring down the curtains. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Coach Collins Bolo. Good evening, sir, and how are you tonight?
Good evening, Eli. I'm very fine and well. Mombasa. Really appreciate us having this moment again.
Definitely. How is Mombasa, Kenya tonight?
Mombasa is very cool, very nice. The best, actually, the weather started now switching towards holiday mood at this particular point. Not much rain, good sun, shine. That one means swimming. This is the best time for the people to come to Mombasa.
Definitely. So in case you're in Nairobi or you're any other place in the world and you're looking for warm weather, you need to go to Nairobi and then get your way to Mombasa, Kenya. But meanwhile, here in Belgium, it's quite chilly. We are enjoying and ready for the family edition. Marriages that don't work started off with It's Just a Wedding. And for those who are celebrating their weddings, Coach, what do you have to tell them as they start to their wedding plans? Because leo imekuwa sato, wengine wamefanya harusi na probably they didn't get the message first time. What message do you have for them?
The message I have for those who have just wedded or they're intending to wed is this. In marriage, 1% is food and sex. 99% is what you think about your spouse. By the time you get into your wedding, invest more and more to learn your spouse, to learn your husband, to learn your wife. Invest to build and develop your partner. While doing that, which is the 99%, remember what people are running for most of the time and they fail is the 1%, which is food and sex. However, it is still very important. 1%, which is not being taken care of well, can make us to lose the 99%. But if you work on the 99%, I guarantee you, you're going to get the 1%, which will make everything to be 100%. The second thing which I like to encourage each and every person who is intending to marry is this. Living together and behaving like couples to be marriage partners. And that's why a group of psychologists and social theologians and social psychologists came up with a conclusion that cohabitation is not the same as marriage. So if you're living in a manner that sounds like one who is married, but it is neither civil, religious, or traditional, I'd just like to remind you that you are acting. Stop the acting, get into marriage. Cohabitation is not equivalent to marriage. That's very key. So meaning that if you're living in a cohabitation kind of a lifestyle and then someone leaves you, don't cry and say, my marriage has broken. It was not even existing from the word go. And that's very key. We'll be having episodes to talk on the same matters.
Let's take there a little bit further because somebody is here wondering, Coach Collins, I've been with my man and my woman, and now you are telling me we are not recognized. The most scary aspect of all this, and that's why probably people shy off, they always say weddings are expensive. Is something you mentioned in our previous episode, but for those who are planning to do that, how can they make sure that this issue is covered in a more pocket-friendly manner, Coach?
Now, when we talk about a wedding, the most important key or the most key factors are, first, if both of you are mature and ready to pay the price towards your success. Two, if you have witnesses on the same matters. Now, witnesses can be two people and above. Then three, in context of Africa, if you have involved your parents so that they're aware, because in African context, it's a merger between you two as couples and also two families at large. So including others so that they're aware protects your marriage, protects your relationship at the same time. Like today, I had a scenario whereby someone was saying that she has been married for 11 years. Until recently, she just discovered that the husband has been having another family before her starting with him, this so-called marriage, this cohabitation kind of a lifestyle. And it really offended her so much. Going further, the guy has been telling him actually is people call his husband an engineer, water engineer. For 11 years, she has never known exactly the career of the husband. For 11 good years, they have two children. So recently, the husband has been having a lot of panic attack. Before he leaves the house, he has to peep outside if maybe there are people around him. And the wife was like, "What's happening? Why do you feel like you're very anxious and paranoid of late?" And the guy is, "You see, because of the success we have, there are some people who want to kill me and who are going to sorcer us against my own life. That's why I'm so much worried. I have to check if they're around or not." Within no time, the police came to the house of that madam. Then they were asking for the husband, and the man was arrested. So when the lady goes to the police station, she's been told that your husband is a conman. He has been telling people that he's a water engineer, taking money from people, pretending that he's going to drill boreholes for them.
Oh.
And the wife is like, "I never knew." How? At the same time, whenever this lady was trying to push the guy so that he can take the kids to up country, the guy used to tell the lady that, "No, no, no, no. My home, there's too much witchcraft. If you go, they're going to bewitch you." 11 years, she has never gone to the home of the man. Yes, she has never known even the career of this guy. And because of that, at the same time, she never knew this guy had another family with 5 children before she came in. The effect of a cohabitation. Why? Because you're making decisions based on emotional feelings, but not following some basic. That's why you say with the wedding, what you need, if you have an officiating minister, whether in the church or in the civil or the elders, and then you are there as couple, you're mature people, you have witnesses who know actually this guy or this lady, you are starting a life of husband and wife. That is enough. And it won't cost you too much. Any further thing more than that, it is for your pleasure. For example, inviting 100 people, inviting 200 people, that is for your pleasure. It's not a requirement. It is just good, especially if the community takes the African responsibility whereby wedding belongs to the community and we all contribute towards the success. If people don't want to contribute, look for a nice shirt and a trouser, jeans trouser as a man. Lady, look for a good African attire, get an officiating minister, let him declare you husband and wife after approval from the parents, and start your life. It doesn't have to be very expensive. Why? Marriage and wedding, they are two different things. A wedding is a celebration event, but marriage is a process towards making a home using the laws of relationship.
Well, we have it there. A wedding is a totally different thing from marriage, and a lot of people walk into marriage, coach, with a lot of expectations, which we mentioned in our second mini series of this series. And we are asking, coach, since we had these unrealistic expectations, what should we then expect in a real scenario? Cinderella lifestyle, huku sisi ndio tuko sort of mentality. But before you answer that, let's go to the comment section and welcome everybody that is watching tonight with us. Thank you so much for making it to the family edition. We are here with Coach Collins Bolo, ambaye amesema leo anakuja kukufunza how to, walk into the next step of your life as a married couple or as a potential husband and wife. We have Josh anasema tuned in. Thank you so much. Msafi anasema tuned. Inspiration to me. This is Haron. Alafu we have Njekita who tells us to Mehama, and we are live here on YouTube. Thank you very much. Miriam Muhui anasema watching from Mombasa. And if you're watching from any of those channels, we are asking you to come to this other platform, which is our YouTube channel, and we call it the As in Heart Official. It's such a simple name and a simple text. Just log onto your YouTube account, that is your app, and search for the As in Heart, and then you have the channel with you. Remember to subscribe, share, and invite a friend as you are at it. Coach Collins, sisi ndio tuko
Yeah.
mentality, or what do we have to sort out when we are walking into the marriage? What are these things we should expect from the unrealistic nature of it?
Expectations are good, but they have to be in line. Now, the expectations which are more self-centered, it's all about what will I gain? What will I get? How will you help me? How will you build me? How will you comfort me? How will you be encouraging me? Which drains an individual. When getting to marriage, you need to have a clear understanding of your purpose for life. You need to have a work plan on how you are going to achieve your purpose of life, so that when you are coming to marriage, there are two people coming together who clearly know their purpose in life, and you are coming to complement each other towards achieving the same goal for life. Now, once your purpose for life is very clear, your skills are very clear, techniques towards achieving your goals are very clear, then you see the person whom you're intending to marry with, your role is, how can I use what I have to develop my wife, to develop my man towards achieving common goal, a win-win goal? It becomes extremely important. Now, this will help us to avoid some unexpectations, issues like, because the guy is coming from a religious background, then he's good. Not every child who comes from a home which is religious means necessarily that they are going to be good and religious. It's unrealistic expectation. Because this guy has been employed by a good company, corporate company, he has a good position, then I have financial assurance. That's a wrong expectation. So long as he's employed and is not having multiple sources of income for himself, he is as good as in the next minute is going to be jobless. And that's very key, because most of our mothers are telling their daughters or sisters, don't marry a guy who is jobless, because for them, cash flow is having a job, which is not always true. Now, a person who has developed skill and abilities to create streams of cash flow is much more secured as far as cash flow is concerned than one who feels is secure because of a job. It's just a matter of emotional feeling. But there are a lot of dynamics in life which can make one to be jobless, even against the intention of the organization, because of dynamics on how things happen in life. And the realistic expectation we talked about can be issues like, because this guy is coming from a very lovely family, then it's going to be very lovely to me, which is not always true. That's why I usually recommend and tell them, before you get into marriage, how does this person relate to his father and mother? How does he or she relate to his other siblings at home? If his story is like, I don't like my mom, I don't like my father, and this stepfather of mine, even though he educated me, but he never loved me like a real father. This is a person who has a lot of baggage. He needs help. And the help is not marriage. He needs therapy. Why? Because he or she, her perspective and his perspective to life will pull you down somewhere in life. So now, we have to substitute all unrealistic expectation from real good expectations. But it is far much better if your expectation is towards building and developing one another.
Building and developing one another is one of the most common denominators that should be used when getting into a marriage or into a couple sort of relationship. But coach, there's another expectation that we come with when we, especially from the African setting, we know that marriage should accumulate to come and bring forth children. This is the common expectation that people will have. What if you are there and it seems not to be working? Should you say marriage is not for me, where there are no children coming in? Or is this something you need to discuss before you get into marriage?
First and foremost, marriage is marriage whether children are there or not. Still, marriage can be good and people can enjoy marriage. However, based on our cultural expectation, not only cultural, also it's a human design. Every human wants to have a generation. Men have been designed to think about having the next generation. So every man will think about having a child, Because a child for the men, it's about the next generation. Every woman will be happy if she can conceive and have a child. However, whether by coincidence or by accident it cannot happen, still marriage can be good and enjoyable, and other issues can be attended to. It's extremely important for people to discuss this matter during the time of courting and dating, and much more. When they're undergoing premarital counseling, they need a therapist, marriage therapist, who will bring this issue as an agenda to be discussed, because there are so many things which happen. They might go to the hospital, they might have a checkup done, and the man's system, the eggs are excellent and good. The lady, the same time, both of them are fertile. But there are several dynamics. Your husband starts working, it's a long transit, good transit driver. Because of sitting for quite a long time, then the sperm mortality starts moving down. Then finally, it cannot produce. Or, for example, the wife becomes expectant. Then after becoming expectant, few months towards delivery, she develops a complication.
Yeah.
In the process of the complication in the hospital, then it has happened. I know a couple whereby she got a complication, the woman, during delivery, and the doctor removed her uterus without consultation from her.
Okay.
5-6 years later, she's still expecting to have a child and she cannot conceive. The husband knew it because he talked to the doctor, but the husband never shared with the wife about it. So it really became a stress factor to this woman, to the point whereby she started now going out. Probably if I'll get another man to give me the seed for fertility, to be okay. And the husband realized there's something wrong. So when you're having therapy, the guy said, but there's something I've never told my wife. During that time when she was giving birth to the second child and complication came off, the doctor told me that I have to choose whether the whole system, the uterus and the womb, will be eliminated out or not. And she was still young, under 20 years, in 20s.
Okay.
The whole thing was chucked off. The man years has been aware that the wife can never be able to conceive. And the wife has been running up and down from one prayer person to another, from one prophet to another, from one doctor to another doctor, and things are not happening. So in case such kind of eventuality happens, and as a man, you have to make a decision to save the life of your wife, but that decision will affect children in future as far as bearing children is concerned. Why don't you discuss about it later so that you can come up with a plan B? Sometimes one party can be involved in an accident, which will interfere with fertility. Or other, probably one used to, like I had a case, the sister who meets with me and she tells me, I need you to pray for my husband, for my marriage. No, that's good. What specifically would you like me to pray about the issues of your marriage?
Yeah.
She says that my husband is not faithful, but I think he's not faithful because I've never given him a child. So he's trying to get a child somewhere else. Please kindly pray that he will turn his mind and get focused on it. Then I remembered this particular individual, I knew her from primary school. And at class 6 to class 8, she did more than 4 abortions.
Okay.
You're getting the scenario. So
Yes,
now, years later, she became a Christian. She became converted. Now she's a straightforward woman, but she cannot conceive because it is not in the light of the husband. Then now they're in a marital crisis. That's why premarital counseling is important, so that people can discuss these matters, because it affects later on in life.
Thank you, Coach. It affects later on in life. And for everybody that is joining us for the first time, this is the Family Edition, which comes to you every single Saturday right here on the As in Heart Official on YouTube. So do be and get to be part of the family by subscribing. Hit the subscription button by simply going onto YouTube and searching the name The As in Heart as it's running down on the ticker. That is The As in Heart on Facebook, and on YouTube, The As in Heart, of course, official. Our Instagram handle is The As in Heart, or rather the @_in_heart. So be part of the big family. We are discussing marriages that don't work. If you missed out on the mini series, you missed a lot. But guess what? This information stays on our YouTube channel. you can always go back there and rewatch. Coach, you have talked about the premarital counseling and all that comes when it's matter dealing with the expectations and going into stuff called marriage. Something that sparkled me was the fact that communication is one of the subjects we do not get into when we want to discuss important matters. So when do we initiate communications? We want to discuss that when we come back, but for now let's take a quick break, and when we come back we handle this and much more.
Juu anapenda chapati na hana pan. Uliona ile mimi msichana mwenye anaendanga kwa boyfriend na pan? Huyo msichana ni mimi. Nitaendelea.
Unabeba pan from your hostel to his hostel.
Nilikuwa naeka pan kwa kibeti, ninaenda kupikia boyfriend.
Lakini wewe ya ndugu, how are you even mke nyumbani?
No, nilikwambia mambo ya Webuye. He said I heard that drama people are from Nairobi and Webuye and other serious towns, not Kimilili. So I decided to give it a try. By the way, was the first one, I think, from Kimilili who is serious about drama. The rest were from Webuye, Kitale, Bungoma, serious towns. Kimilili was just a place for circumcision.
Yes, you want to watch more about the Against All Odds, do join us every single Sunday right here on the Arts in Heart. Meanwhile, let's go back to Coach Collins Bolo, and I hope my audio is it's actually audible enough, because I'm told there's some struggles.
Very clear.
But probably if your connection is not working, you might be struggling with us. But the connection on my end seems working very perfectly. Coach Collins, I can see Edel Kweyuse is watching. Edel, kindly be nice. Cross over to our YouTube channel, and so that we can, have the family gathering together with the rest that are there. So, if in case you don't know where the handle is, that is the Arts in Heart official. That's where we are at. Coach, communication. Everybody talks about communication, but nobody seems to know how to communicate. How do we unsettle this matter?
Ellie, it's interesting when people are courting and dating, their communication signals are very clear. And the clarity is at 80% until they decide to get into marriage or start behaving like people who are married. However, when they get in, priority changes. Not because they are bad or evil, because life is a process of growth and development. Children come on the way, financial demands come on the way, personal development comes on the way. And at that particular point, where you had put all your energy and focus to get this girl, to get this man, until you have some even have to practice what they'll say. They have to do some rehearsal in the home. Like another man was saying, if you get a prey, do you need to continue following the prey? No. You see that with those kind of dynamics, people start tending to forget their role in enhancing communication. And some of the basics towards effective communication is understanding gender dynamics. With gender dynamics, when you talk about communication from the world of the woman, what does it mean? From the world of the man, what does it mean? For example, what the woman of 21st century needs today, which will enhance communication, is presence. So men ought to understand what the woman today wants is presence. It's girls who need phones, television, and a big car. But ladies who are mature and they know what they need in life, you realize that they have understood, they have this understanding that presence is key, because you can be given every household facility, but if your man is not around, you start feeling like a widow while you are still married. No wonder in most of the middle high class homes where everything is available, suicidal attempts are much more than ghetto, where most of the people have some of these facilities. Why? Poor people think success is seen and mentioned by what you have, not who you are, not but who you are. Now, because of that kind of mindset, you realize that most of the men and women forget that aspect. Some women are not aware that what they need is presence, intimacy. While men, what men need is simple. Not just a matter of kisses and romance and different styles of sex. No, what a man needs is respect. That's what it means. Even if he's a cockroach to his boss where he works, he needs to feel a king in his own home. That one makes him to have tranquility and peace. That respect makes him to have tranquility and peace. And tranquility is a very key thing for men. Most of the men prefer to arrive home late, not because where they are it is better, but because of what they meet once they get home. It is not very conducive. Now, that's the foundation and the best question. Because communication in marriage is not about just the words you use, but how you use. For example, when your wife tells you like you are good for nothing, or you are not always there for me, what does she mean? Now, the intelligence of the man, communication intelligence, demands you as a man to understand that sometimes what the woman says and what she means might not come out the same way. So your goal is to understand what does she mean at this particular point, or else you get emotionally disturbed by going by what she says than what she means. And this has damaged so many men because men are logical. So when a woman speaks something, she thinks like a man and interprets everything like a man, and they get into war like men in war. See, when man-to-man talk, when a man says you are bure kabisa, it really means it, you are bure kabisa. It is different from when a woman says the same kind of a thing. Now, these are codes which men ought to understand. Very, very key. Very key.
Okay.
Yes. On the other hand, now, when communication on men, when a man is in trouble, he prefers to be silent and to think and to ponder about his issue. So when he is silent, the woman ought to understand you don't need to bother him to talk by telling him kuongea ndio nusu ya kutatua shida. That is not in context of men. It's a gender-related issue. When a man is in trouble and is silent and thinking about coming out with a solution, he can solve it much easier than when you are forcing him to talk and to discuss the problem.
Yeah.
But when a woman is in trouble and she's silent, my friend, there's a time bomb. Why? They try to communicate out, to verbalize more of their issues than to keep them in by themselves. Apart from dynamics of personality, which also come in. So communication is important by understanding gender dynamics in your communication and stages, different stage where you are in your relationship. Very, very key.
Coach, there is a thin line between communication and being obnoxious or being somebody that is now a bother. How do you differentiate between I'm trying to communicate to have a conversation and I've become your constant, I say, there's a word I'm looking, but I don't know if it's the correct word to use in this case, but somebody that is bothering with tons and tons of messages in the name of communicating?
Now, when there's a lot of vibration of words and there's no response on the other side, it means there's no communication. Now, once you realize that the feedback you are getting is not equivalent to the message you are sending, probably need to learn skills like refreshing skills in your communication, verbal. Now, when it comes to verbal communication, or probably need to ask yourself this question: is this the right time for me to speak on this matter to my wife or my husband? If the time is okay, am I expressing it in the right way? That's another factor which is there. The time might be okay, but the way you are phrasing the statement is not in the right way. Am I giving it in the right mood? It might be the right time, the right place, but your moods at that particular time won't bring the real intentions which you have in that communication, especially if it's something to do with a lot of tension at that particular point. Now, these dynamics are very key when communication is taking place. Another aspect is, in my communication, am I suggesting a very heavy decision and stand as far as the matter of our marriage and relationship is concerned? For example, in your communication, there are sentiments like, if you don't change, I'm not going to leave this home. If you don't change, I'm going to get the second wife. If you don't cooperate, I'm going to terminate this marriage. Now, those are very heavy words. And if they're used in anger, when people are tense, the damage effect is much more than waiting until you are sober and relaxed on a good environment and you have to communicate the same matter at that particular point. Other issues in communication which you need to understand is, if I win my argument, will it help to develop my relationship, or I will lose? That's key, because there are people who will always argue. I'm sorry, sometimes some women are known to be good in arguing. You are right, yes. She's very right. Her opinion is extremely very right, but she's trying to prove to the husband that this time I'm the one who is right, at the expense whereby, in proving to be right, you are damaging the ego of your husband. You might win the argument, but you lose the trust, or you lose the emotional connection. The same thing to men. There's some men who don't believe that women are thinkers. They can think independently and come up with great innovations and idea. So what happens? They always put their stamp of authority against the wife, and against the wife. But the question is, yes, you are winning every day in the argument and putting the authority, symbol of authority on her. But are you winning her for yourself as a friend? You can be a good husband and wife, but you're not the best friends.
Just before we leave the communication aspect.
Yes.
Just before we leave that, and I believe that will make a great conclusion, is where then do we create a compromise when it comes to that aspect?
For you to create a compromise, before you start communicating, have a clear agenda. What do I need to achieve, which will make both of us to be a success? It has to be very clear. If your anger is higher than the results which you require, don't start the communication. If what you need for your success, both of your success, is much higher than the situation taking place, then at this particular time, communicate. But in your communication, we came up with this principle: spare the person, attack the problem. That's very key. Spare the person, attack the problem. So the issue which has come between you, attack it, address it, speak against it. But make sure that you speak in a manner that the person will feel like you're not attacking him or her. But the problem is the thing which has come between you. That will make him or her to feel, actually, you don't have an issue with me. It's these behaviors which I have, which is the problem. And then it can be easy for you to come up with a work plan on how you can proceed with your relationship well.
Wow. In case you've been missing all this, gentlemen and ladies that are watching tonight, I can tell you for a fact, there's so much to learn from Coach Collins Bolo. And let's see who is watching us. We have Lena Jacobs, who tells me, true friendship is vital in marriage. Hashtag family edition. Thank you so much, Lena, and coming on board tonight. A lot of sense there, Coach, a lot of sense. And we have Kathy Peters, who says, she's watching and learning. Thank you so much, Kathy, and welcome to the show. Michael, on the other hand, says, Michael Sunday, important program and watching us all the way from Toronto. Thank you so much for stopping by tonight. I believe it's a bit over some time, over midnight, midday there in Toronto.
In Toronto, yes. Actually, Michael, we schooled together. We did diploma together, the university, which we were also in the same university together. And right now it's in Canada, Toronto. And Kathy, she's one of my church members. I'm happy for them to be there, among other friends, business partners who are writing also.
Thank you so much, Kathy. And of course, we have Ruth Abondo, who says, enjoying and learning too.
Yeah, she's in the US, Ruth Abondo.
Thank you so much, Ruth. Yes, Ruth. We are here, big family on Heart in Heart, and we welcome everybody that is watching with us tonight to cross over to our YouTube channel, the Heart in Heart Official, as we celebrate 1 year come next week of being live. Every single week we've been streaming live, and I can tell you, Coach, it's been an amazing journey. But to find out what is coming up, stay tuned for next week on Friday as we do a live on set with all the the cast members, including all the show hosts, that can be able to make it to the physical streaming that will be happening in Nairobi, Kenya. Meanwhile, remember to subscribe to our channel so that as we grow, we can grow together. Coach, let's go now to another aspect of this conversation, which is marriages that don't work because of compatibility. Compatibility, people only look at the fact that huyu ni mrefu, this one is shorter, this one is dark, this one is handsome. Oh, we are compatible.
Yes, common mistakes. Because they put compatibility based on artificial issues, which are still important. But you see, we said good things tend to hinder better things. It's okay, both of you love coffee. It's okay, both of you love tea. It's okay, both of you love swimming. But are those likes key to your success in marriage and relationship? What about the issues of dynamics of personality? Now, this is a time whereby understanding each other's personality is key, because your personality describes who you are. And coming to a work plan whereby I know you are a melancholy, I am a choleric, or I'm a sanguine, or a phlegmatic. After understanding those dynamics of personality, then you intentionally decide to complement each other strength. Where you are the areas of your challenge as a melancholy, then the guy comes in with the strength as a choleric, or vice versa. Where you are very strong as a sanguine, you substitute the other part of your partner who is a not if you're not a sanguine, or maybe a phlegmatic at the same time. Now, here we are getting to the point where we even check and analyze the dynamics of our personality so that we intentionally decide to work together so that compatibility becomes a reality in this journey and at the work at the same particular time. So compatibility has to go beyond what you just like. Life is not about likes like social media. It's all about understanding your dynamics of personality, interest, purpose, and both of you decide to come with a work plan on working towards the same cause. Very key. Very key.
That got me there when you say it's not about likes like the social media.
Social media, yeah.
I don't know what's happening because my connection seems to be letting me down. Coach, let's quickly get this fixed out.
Okay.
I came to Nairobi for the first time in my life after campus, after campo. Nikitembelea auntie yangu fulani here and there, but officially I came after campus. And one thing that I told myself deep down, nilijiambia uko ndani, I have never seen women. I have not been seeing women. The women are here.
Yes, I hope for those who miss out on the on the Friday editions, you know what you're missing out on. Lumumba tells me coming to Nairobi made him discover he had never seen anything. The beautiful ones are not yet born. Coach Collins, not yet born. And we always rushing into marriages and relationships thinking they are ending. But I'm being told that's not the case. So as we conclude the conversations tonight, we are asking you, what has been your experience during this session of marriages that don't work? What have you learned? Anything that you've taken out of this discussion, let us know. You can put it in the comment section so that we get to know if you've learned anything through this session. Coach, we stopped having issues with compatibility, and then we noticed that actually there's a major problem where people have an issue and an attitude on how they deal with finances. How can we say such a small thing like, I'm fortunate enough to have a coin here. I don't know if you guys can see that coin is it's a 20 Kenyan shillings.
Okay.
And apparently there are people who believe 20 shillings is very little for them, so they can spend it however they deem fit. But the day they'll get $1 million, then they'll be able to manage it properly. They can take care of their issues. Financial management or mismanagement, Coach Collins, in a relationship, how does it crumble the marriage?
one of the great speakers who influenced the lives of the people in his world until the world of today, none other than Yeshua HaMashiach, once said, if you cannot be faithful with the little amount of money which you have been handed over to take care or to manage, if you cannot be faithful to manage little amount of money, how can you be entrusted with much more? This is the law of faithfulness on how management and finance, which is very key. Now, I think one of the biggest predicament we have as a society is that we cannot be able to differentiate between money and currency. To run
Coach,
as
what are you trying to say?
papers. Yes, there's a difference between money and currency. That will be a discussion for another day.
Okay.
In our African context, we have been schooled to work for paper money. But rich people don't work for money. They go on asset which high value. That's why we talk about currency. For example, gold is currency. Land is currency. See now, the value doesn't go just down that way. It appreciates with time. Now, some of the richest people in the past, even some today, it is based on even issues like cows. But when these guys came, when our grandparents have like 1,000 cows, they're told, no, this is not being rich. You need paper. So people are getting into marriage in search after paper. And one of the things we learned is this. If your motivation for life is pursuit for paper, you will die without attaining all of it. So in marriage, you have to have a very clear definition on what exactly success you don't pursue for it. It is something which comes because of achieving results based on certain laws of life which you're implementing towards your achievements for life. For example, if you are a student and you usually score 30% and you target to get 40% and you get 35%, that is success to you. But for the teacher, it is failure. So meaning, if you allow yourself to define your success based on the opinion of the teacher, you are doomed. But if you are going to define it based on your progress, you have a success in itself. So when it comes to issues of money in the same way, now, whether it is paper money or real currency or real value for the paper, you must have a clear definition as couples. With this paper flowing through our hands on and off, which values go up and down each and every time. What do we need to achieve as a success in our marriage while this mode passes through our hands? So that you don't live to pursue for it, but you live to develop your life for greater tomorrow. Now, because people are rushing for the money, because you cannot differentiate the two, you realize that marriages are still breaking where there's too much money, paper money, and still flowing, crashing down where there's no paper money. While we see people
So what
today,
is the problem?
lack of definition of what we need to make our relationship successful as far as the economy of life is concerned. That's very key and very, very important. Let me give an example. Some years back, I was in Kijabe mission. Then there's this sick patient who came to the hospital. Mzee, he had an accident somewhere in that Limuru road. Then he was brought in the hospital. Then he was checked as they were they're taking the first initiative of saving the life of this patient. After they stabilized him, they told him that we need now to get to some surgery and help you. Would you mind if you can give us a deposit of 50,000 so that we can start the process? The guy said, let me call my sons and daughters so that they can send money and you start the process. Now, because the guy had become a bit stable and he called the children, as the children were preparing to send money to come and to send someone to come and bring money for the father, then suddenly his condition changed because of other complication and the guy died. Now, this is the bad news. When they checked for his identity card in his pocket, the jacket which he had, they found 100,000 shillings which he had in his pocket. But the guy was not willing to spend it to save himself. What he needed was money to be sent by his children. At the age of over 60 years, pursuing paper, which he could not make decision in saving his life.
Wow.
That's the predicament of the brainwash which has been put in us, and we get with it into marriage. Financial management is important. Let's now go to the common framework of reference. Both of you might be working, one partner might be working, maybe the husband is working because he's employed, and the wife is working because she's a housewife. And one of the most difficult tasks in life is being a housewife. Yeah. And men ought to understand being a housewife is a big task. I have a friend of mine whose wife graduated with my wife from the School of Medicine in the University of Nairobi, with him also. And this guy, at one point of time, had to tell the wife, now, there's something which I need us to discuss. And he asked the wife, how much are you being paid right now? By then, it was back like 15 years ago, she was being paid 60,000 per month. Then the husband asked the wife, now, I want us to make a deal. Because I believe it is good, I respect you're a professional. But I feel you being as a housewife and the one who will take care of me and my children has more value than you putting your energy somewhere else. Would you mind I pay you what your company pays you every month and you take care of me and our child, our two children? She got twins. And they made a deal. And from that year until today, the man pays his wife for taking care of him and the children. What is the idea behind it? He recognizes that being a housewife is not a loss, but one of the most important ingredients for success in life for your generation to come. My wife works today, but both of us are praying that my businesses will go well, and she quits from working so that she can join me. We work together and we take care of our children. Why? Because we believe being a housewife is one of the greatest gifts in life. But do all people view the same way? No. Why? We are running for paper money. However, when both of you work or one partner works, it's extremely important to have a clear definition on this matter of finances. Come with a plan on how you need to use this money towards your success as couples. As I said before, there are different views. There are people who want, the world view is no matter how much your wife gets, it is her money. As a man, you should not touch it. Work like a donkey, facilitator, and the whole family at large. There are those who are with the school of thought. The money which the wife gets and the money which the husband gets, when it's on check, it is individual's money. When it becomes liquid, it's our money, and they come up with a work plan on how they can use it for their access. Savings becoming key, like also the principle of 30-70, 10% to God, 10% saving, 10% you invest back to yourself at the same time. Then budget within the 70% at the same time. If you're intending to go for December holiday, from January, start saving some amount of money towards December. Don't just ambush. Like now it is November. Hey, nasikia Mombasa imekuwa poa. Si tupange twende Mombasa. You did not plan for it, and January is there coming.
And then if Bay or Daddy says no, you want to swell like baked bread.
Yes, you are so angry. All the other women have been taken out with their husbands. You cannot do anything for me. Or when you squander the money, the man wants to entertain you very well, not to be sad. Then on January, when money is not available, you start blaming your neighbor that he has bewitched you.
Coach, before we leave the money issue, and I know it might be a little bit off topic, but you mentioned about Madame deciding to stay home and you pay them as a housewife. That's a great initiative to keep the family together. But what happens to their personal goals if they needed to achieve something, either academically or professionally? Where do you strike the balance?
Now, the issue of the personal goal and purpose has to be cleared beforehand. And the decision towards her pulling back to pay is towards her not spending all the 12 hours at the place where she is, so that while with you at home, she can now start focusing on her purpose and agenda for life, a purpose for life. Now, then there's this different thing. You know, there's a difference between work and job. And the difference is simple. Work is all about understanding your gifting and ability and using it towards creating human solution. So it's based on your gift and talents. But job, it's all about using your ability towards meeting the need of your employer, so that by the end of the day, you can be paid back. You might have an interest in that task or not. Maybe it is only life which has pushed you to find yourself at the same place. But you might be working in a job environment at the same time. What you're passionate about is what you'll be employed for at the same time. Now, probably your wife is a jobber, but whatever she does is not within her purpose for life, where she has passion for life. You can come up with a work plan. Now, I value you so much as my wife. I believe in the abilities and skills you have. I believe in the vision you have, because the success in your vision will bring success in our marriage, our family, our relationship, and our career. Based on that, make a decision. It has to be very clear, not blind decision. Because some men might decide today tell their wife to get back home because they are insecure about the people working around their wives at workplace. But the person has not discovered the purpose, skill, ability, and talent of the wife.
Interesting, Coach. Coach.
Before that,
yes, go ahead.
Do you know there's a research which was done globally, and it was found out that if option could have been given to women, if either they work or they stay home, more than 90% of them will prefer to stay home and to nurture and to take care of their children and their husbands than to stay away from home. It's economical pressure and issues of identity which force us all to be out of our homes.
Wow, economic pressure forces us to be, and that's an interesting aspect, because as we proceed with these conversations, we will be bringing more and more of this discussion also in other shows that exist. For example, the Men's Den, where we talk about matters that rotate and discuss issues to deal with men. Among the topics that will be coming on that show is work-life balance. Coach, hii between nasumbua watu, and everybody thinks it's the role and duty of a man, or rather of a woman, to be the nurturer of the family, and therefore it is the role of the man to exclusively provide. Where are the balances, and where do we bring in daddies to play actually their roles? As we finish this conversation tonight, Coach, there's a very, very great cliche that goes ahead around our society today that says marriage is a scam. As we conclude, marriage is not a scam. That's my belief. What is your take on this, Coach?
Ignorance is a scam, and ignorance about marriage is a scam in itself. So an ignorant, educated person and in ignorance about marriage who gets into marriage in a lawful manner is a scam, and the results of the relationship is a scam. But marriage in itself, it is not a scam. And you know, one of the institutions which has survived through life is marriage and relationship. So the moment someone starts thinking it's a scam, it becomes extremely important for him to ask himself or herself basic questions. Why do I see what other people get satisfaction and fulfillment as scam? Is the problem my perspective or the institution of marriage in itself, which is a scam? That one becomes extremely important, because your personal dissatisfaction because you are hurt or you grew in an environment whereby family and marriages was not working does not disqualify the existence, satisfaction, and the beauty in marriage. And that's extremely important and key. It's like someone who was hurt because somebody probably abused him or her verbally. Then he gets hurt emotionally, and the hurt increases to the point of having a lot of acidity leading to ulcer. Then when it's having too much of ulcers developing in the stomach and it's been asked, what's the problem? My husband hurt me, my wife hurt me, that's why I have a lot of ulcers, that's why I'm under a lot of pressure and stress. The truth of the matter is this: your ulcer and stress has nothing to do with your wife, neither your husband, but in your ability to manage your anger and the ability to exercise forgiveness. So the fact that you have ulcers to the point now you are going to die, and maybe you'll die and we are going to bury you, does not qualify and justify that the person who offended you is the cause to your problem. But your ignorance and incompetence with dealing with your heart's feeling, or what we call emotional intelligence, lack of emotional intelligence, is what is killing you, making you sick, and you are going to be married soon. So a need for knowledge and understanding the law of relationship becomes paramount to this particular. Marriage is not a scam. It will never be a scam. But ignorant people, as far as the law of relationship is concerned, who get into marriage relationship through a wedding in the church, civil or traditional, they are a scam and they'll produce scam, but it will never be a scam.
Coach, marriage will never be a scam. And from believers that practice different religion, the most we hear is whatever God has put together, let no man put asunder. Is it a must to stay married even when things are absolutely not working? Would you advocate for that?
I think we need to start reverse. Is it a must for everybody to be married? No. If you go from religious point, it's not a must that every man, every woman has to be married. Is it sinful? If you decide not to get into marriage, it is not sinful. When you get into marriage, can you get trouble? Absolutely. The good book says that those who are married, they are in big trouble. It is better to be single than to be married. Why? Because of the fallen nature of man and sin in man, which out of it, with ignorance, it makes things to be very hard in our lives. Now, when things become hard and complicated, we need to ask ourselves some very key questions. Part of the questions include, what is my role in bringing this crisis? Most of the time we're asking, most of the time is we point fingers. It's my husband, it's my wife who has led to this issue. No. What is my role in leading to this crisis? Even if your role is 1% contribution, you need to acknowledge it and correct that error. Because correcting 1% of your contribution towards the problem might make you to get 100% return results towards making your situation to be very good and nice. That's very key. Now, meaning if both partners will decide to intentionally get to work on their contribution towards the problem, then that one means complications can be taken care of very well. Very, very well. However, if both party or one party decides not to change and is violent in that relationship, pull back. Maybe the person might be having mental illness and you're not aware. You are thinking it's just having problem with anger management, but it's a mental illness. Why die in the presence of a sick fellow? Pull back. That's why we have something called separation. Separate. Let the person undergo therapy and help to qualify himself to be able to manage you and the other family members.
Yep.
That's very key. Other complications might be issues like someone is addicted to gambling and you cannot progress at all as a family. And when you talk, fights come in. Sometimes it gets recommended that get for therapy, go for help. If one is not willing, pull back. Sometimes when someone pulls back, the other person will get back to sense. Then negotiation and mediation can be done at that particular point. Very key. When things don't work, something can still be done for everything to work well. But if one party or both parties decide no way to go, you have to be ready for the consequence about it. Now, for those who are Christians and they're truly Bible-believing Christian, you see, you decide that none of you is willing to change and you have to divorce. It becomes extremely important to understand one thing. from the biblical, fundamental biblical beliefs. Yes, you will separate, but none of you is expected to get to another marriage until the other partner dies. The catch is this: most of the time, these people don't die easily. That's the biblical standpoint, not the white man. You see, the white man brought the Bible plus his culture, and today you can find a white man telling you that this is my one and only wife, but in the real sense, it's the third, the fourth, or the fifth wife, but only one at that time. But the others divorcing, getting to another one, divorcing, getting to another one. It's a culture in some of these societies, and they bring that culture into the Bible, making people to feel, instead of people putting their energy toward resolving their issues and the problem, people rush very fast to get to divorce because there's somebody else somewhere who sounds to be more promising. The law of the greener always on the other side, instead of making a place greener by watering it at every time. Yeah. So that's the biblical stand, meaning that if you divorce and you rush back to marriage, the Bible regards you as an adulteress.
Yeah. We will be finding out more as we proceed in the family edition, among other discussions. Come next episode, we want to talk about those genetic illnesses in families that can actually, bring pressure and stress and, of course, depression in families when you're dealing with a sick child, dealing with a sick spouse, father, mother, or otherwise. How do we navigate those murky waters? Find out next week. And until next time, I want to wish you a great evening, but I will allow Coach Collins to give his details in case you want to join him by phone or physically. Go ahead, sir.
In case you like to call me, my number is +254 721 605 346. That will be much easier for you to get me. Or on the other side, you can get to Facebook, Collins Bolo, or Instagram. Still, you can find me at the same time. Or you can get to my channel, Rebuilding Family Foundation. And we can communicate. Physically, if you come to Mombasa Avenue, opposite Toyota Kenya, Lakshmi House, a money counseling and training center, you can find me there and I can still help you. And we can have therapy and the other therapists who can help you at the same time.
Definitely. We wish to see you in the next episode and wish you a great weekend ahead. Remember, tomorrow we have Against All Odds with Wigs of Hope by Diana Akech, who is coming to tell stories of how she's restoring hope to persons dealing with cancer, among others. Have a great night. God bless you and good night. Take care.